Hello everyone. Today I'm speaking about timestamp based protocol. Okay. Now timestamp based protocol, okay, or the main aim of timestamp based protocol is nothing but to make this schedule serializable and recoverable. Okay. And why do we need to do this? Because basically nowadays we are using all the transactions which is performed, okay, in this world everywhere, let it be ATM or let it be online or let it be through your mobile or through phone pay or any other thing. Okay, they are each and every transaction. Okay, there are millions of transactions executing concurrently. Okay, and the main aim of concurrency control protocol is to make these schedules are nothing but n number of transactions executing concurrently. Okay, so the aim of concurrency control protocol is to make the schedule serializable and recoverable. Okay, and this is achieved with the help of two protocols, in which timestamp based protocol is the one of the protocol. Okay, so today we'll see what is timestamp based protocol. Okay, for that first we'll see what is timestamp based or what is timestamp method. Okay, now basically timestamp is nothing but a unique identifier which is created basically by your system. Okay, now basically let me give you an example. Suppose you're performing some transaction at a time. Suppose a customer A is performing a transaction at a time 10 o'clock. Okay, 10 a.m. is performing some transaction at 10 o'clock. Okay, now that is nothing but a timestamp. That time, date, hour, seconds become the timestamp of that particular transaction. Okay, or you can or the system can also take a logical counter. Now what I mean by logical counter is giving a unique value to each transaction, and this value gets incremented every time. It never gets decremented. Okay, that's what your timestamp is used or implemented with help of system clock and logical counter. Then how is this transaction then how is this transaction assigned? Okay, or how do you assign the value, or how is it denoted basically? So it is denoted as TS of TI. Okay, where TS is nothing but timestamp, of TI is nothing but transactions. Okay, now suppose there is a transaction T1. Okay, there's a transaction T1. Okay, where its timestamp value is 100. So how do you write this basically? That is nothing but TS of TI, that is nothing but T1 in this case, is equal to 100. Okay, now suppose now next transaction has come, that is T2 transaction. Now suppose if I give some timestamp value here, that is 200. Okay, then what will be its value? TS of T2. Now Ti value here is T2, which is equal to 200. Okay, so with this you can notice something, that TS of T1, okay, the value of TS of T1 is less than the value of TS of T2, that is nothing but 100 is less than 200. Okay, therefore TS of Ti is less than TS of Tj. Okay, therefore this condition is formed where TS of Ti is TS of Tj. Okay, where Ti is the old transaction and Tj is the new transaction. Okay, I hope you are understanding, because we have said that transaction Ti. Okay, transaction Ti is nothing but, suppose let me say transaction T1. Since it comes first, the value which is assigned to it is the old value, okay, or the less value, whereas Tj is the new transaction. Okay, its value gets incremented. Okay, same like here. TS has come first, its value is 100. Then TS of T2, if it has come, okay, when it has come, its value assigned is 200. So 100 is less than 200 basically. So that's the condition. TS of Ti is less than TS of Tj. Okay. So next, we'll go to next slide. Okay. Now with this TS of Ti and TS of Tj, okay, there are also few values with this, that is timestamp values. Okay. The first value is read timestamp and the next is write timestamp. So basically, whenever we say read timestamp, it is nothing but the largest timestamp of any transaction. Okay, that executes read of A successfully. Okay, so what is here? Read timestamp is nothing but basically any transaction with largest timestamp. Any transaction with largest timestamp. Okay, if the transaction has read any data, then that data which has read at that particular timestamp, okay, that timestamp of the transaction, okay, is given to read timestamp, okay, is assigned to read timestamp. Same thing with write timestamp, okay, any transaction with largest timestamp, okay, if it executes write of A, then that value is assigned to WTS of A. Now we'll see just an example here. Okay, suppose you have transaction T1, T2, T3 and T4, and these are the TS. Okay, that is nothing but timestamp of T1, that is 10, timestamp of T2 is 20, whereas timestamp of T3 is 30 and timestamp of T4 is 40. Okay, and here we are performing read of A for timestamp 1. First we are performing read of A, then write of A, then next we'll go to read of A in transaction T3, then we'll go to read of A in transaction T2, then we go to write of A in transaction T4. Okay, you all know how it is interleaved basically. Okay, this is nothing but the time at which read is happening, then write is happening. After that, T1 gets interleaved by T3. Okay, next T3 will perform read of A. After that, T2 will perform read of A after certain period of time. After that, T4 will perform write of A. Okay, now suppose, okay, first T1 is reading a value A. Okay, and whenever we say write, in previous slide we have seen write timestamp. Okay, so by default the value of read timestamp or and write timestamp is always 0. Okay, that's what we are seeing there. Read timestamp of A is equal to 0. Now suppose, let us come back to the example. T1, okay, first T1 transaction is executing where it is reading the value A. Now once it is reading the value of A, what we do, what is the timestamp of T1? It is 10. So is 0 less than 10? Yes. Okay. So what happens? This 10 is assigned to read timestamp of A. Why? Because the old timestamp is the old timestamp less than the new timestamp, that is nothing but timestamp of T1, that is 10. Is it? Yes. If it is yes, then you update the value. Okay, because we have seen is in previous that timestamp of Ti is always less than timestamp of Tj. If it is true, then update the value of read timestamp to the updated timestamp. Okay, or the youngest timestamp. Okay, so next we'll come to here. So read RTS value becomes now 10. After that, next. Okay, next we'll go to next read. Okay, because we are seeing only read operations now. Okay, RTS value, so we are not going for write down. First we'll go to all reads, after that we'll go to WTS. Okay, now your RTS of A is 10, then next. Okay, T1 gets interleaved with T3. Now T3 is executing and read of A. Okay, it is reading read of A value where the timestamp of T3 is 30. Okay, and what was the previous timestamp here? It was 10. So 10 is less than 30. Yes, therefore we are updating the RTS value to 30. Now after this, where does it go? It goes back to T2. Okay, now we are reading the A value. Okay, that means the transaction T2 is reading the A value and the timestamp of T2 is 20. Now be careful. What was the previous time RTS value? It was 30. So is 30 less than 20? No. Why? Because in previous slide we have said the largest timestamp of any transaction that is executing read of A successfully, that value is assigned to a read timestamp of A. Okay, that's what. Since 30 is not less than 20, so this transaction, okay, this particular transaction is rolled back. Okay, or this particular value is not updated and read timestamp value remains 30 every time. Next, okay, we have done with read transaction and read timestamp. Sorry, read timestamp. We have done with read timestamp and its value is 30. Now we'll perform write timestamp. Okay, we'll perform write timestamp, and the by default value of write timestamp of A is 0. Okay, now first we'll start with T1. T1, T1 is writing, okay, to A value, and what is the timestamp of T1? It is 10. So 0 is less than 10. Yes. Okay. So your WTS of A will become 10. Now from this write, where it will go? It will go to T4 because we are checking only writes here. We are not checking the reads. Reads are done already. We are checking only writes. Okay. So write of A. Okay. Write of A is performed which transaction? It is T4 transaction. Okay. And this T4 timestamp of this T4 transaction is 40. Okay. Now the previous WTS value, what it was? Okay, it was 10. It has been updated to 10. So is 10 less than 40? Yes. So now what we do is we update the value of write timestamp. So updated value of write timestamp is 40. Okay. So this is how you assign the read timestamp and write timestamp values. Okay. Now next what we do is, these are the few rules which we have to remember before going to see how to solve it. Okay, but for these rules I'll be saying even in examples also on for each rule. Okay, now before that let us just go to what these rules are basic. Okay, now suppose, okay, whenever we say a timestamp based ordering, before this, let me go to the next slide and just explain you basic thing. Okay, now here, the basic condition, okay, the basic condition of timestamp based ordering is the transaction, okay, the basic condition is the transaction which has come first, okay, the transaction which has come first, that is T1 here, should execute first. Okay, should execute and commit first. Okay, here also that's what this transaction T1 T2, you have two transactions here, T1 and T2, where the timestamp of T1 is 100 and timestamp of T2 is 200. Okay, and this transaction T1 is reading a value, it will get executed and committed, then only T2 is allowed to commit. Okay, so this transaction is allowed. Now next come to next transaction. Okay, and you can see here this read write, there is a conflict, though there is a conflict. Okay, let us come to conflicts. Okay, what we have gone through in class, what are the different conflicts? With read you have a write conflict, and for write you have write read and write write conflict. Okay, so you have three conflicts: read write, with write, write read, and write write. Okay, and read read is never conflict. Read read can be done by n number of transactions. Okay, reading can be shared with n number of transactions. So read read is never a conflict. Okay, now coming back to the example. We have seen here transaction T1, T2, where T1 is having timestamp 100, T2 is having timestamp 200. So since T1 has come first, it shall execute first and commit. Then only T2 must commit. Okay. Here also the same thing. You have two transactions where T1 is writing first. Okay. Then T2 is reading. Okay. Now, though there is a conflict, still the uh, the basic timestamp ordering protocol, what it does is it allows T1 to execute first, then it allows T2 to commit. Okay. Even here the same thing, right? First T1 will execute and commit. Okay. Then T2 gets committed. Okay. This is the basic concept of timestamp ordering protocol. Okay. Now let us come back here. Okay. Here we have the rules and this thing. It is best to see like this. Okay. Now the first, suppose let me take this example, transaction T1, okay, and T2, where timestamp of T1 is 100 and timestamp of T2 is 200. Okay. Now you have first T2 writing value A. It is writing to a value A, whereas T1 is reading the same value which is written by T2. Okay. So now whenever T1 wants to read a value, okay, perform a read operation, we shall go through these things. Okay. The first one is, that is nothing but transaction Ti. Ti is nothing but here transaction T1. Okay. It issues a read operation. Okay. So what happens? I will check WTS of A. Okay. WTS of A, if it is greater than TS of Ti. Now what do you mean by this? It's basically, it is saying the right WTS of A is what here, since T2 is performing W of A, that is nothing but write operation. So its value will be by default 200. 200 is greater than 100, that is nothing but TS of T1. Yes. So we will roll back this T1. Okay. Or basically, in previous slide, what I've said you, first the older transaction should get executed first. Okay. So here what is happening? Here the older transaction is executing after the newer transaction is executing. Okay. That's why we have to roll it back. The basic concept of time-based ordering is, first the older transaction should execute and commit, then the younger transaction should commit. But here what is happening? First younger transaction is executing, then the older transaction is executing. Okay. That's what we roll it back, because condition says WTS of A is greater than TS of Ti. Okay. If that condition satisfies, then roll back the transaction T1. Now here what it is, we are seeing, let us go once again. That is write of A. Write of A, T2 is performing write of A. So WTS value becomes 200. Okay. And TS of T1 is 100. So 200 is greater than 100. Right? 200 is greater than 100. Yes. So what is the condition if it is greater than, if it is 200 is greater than 100, roll back T1. So this gets rolled back. If this transaction T1 gets rolled back, then T2 also fails. Okay. Next, we'll see one more example. Now, here what happens, you have the same example we are taking, you have two transactions. Only thing is T2 first reads and that read. Okay. First T2 reads and T1 writes to the same value. Okay. Now, when T1 is writing, we'll go and check the operations with write operation. Okay. The issues with write operation. Okay. Now, I have already said you the conflicts. Okay. In previous slide, we had read conflict. Okay. So, read operation. So, conflict is basically write. With read, the conflict is only write. Now, here you have write. So you will be having, for write you have two conflicts, that is read and you can also have write. Okay. So now we'll check. Okay, with write operation. This write operation read, you have read operation. Okay, conflict operation is read. So we'll check. RTS of A is greater than TS of TI. Now what is RTS of A value? Here you have 200. Okay, is it greater than TS of TI, that is 100? Yes. So what is the condition it has to do? Roll back. So now what happens here? This transaction gets rolled back. Okay, and this particular transaction T2 also fails. Next, there is the one more example. We have seen read write, write read. Now we'll see write write. Okay, now here the same example, only thing is T2 is writing to a value. Okay, and after some time T1 is writing to the same value. Okay, that is nothing but dirty write. Okay, now what happens here? Whenever your T1 is writing something, we'll check the issues related to write operation. And what are the conflicts with write? Read and write both. Okay, now here since we are having write of A, we check with write of A. Then write WTS value of A is basically 200. Okay, by now we have understood what value I'm taking, WTS of A. Okay, that is 200 updated value. And TS of TI value is basically 100. Okay, so is 200 greater than 100? Yes. So what happens here? Roll back TI. Okay, so this is again rolled back. Okay, and this transaction fails. Okay, now we'll see this one example. This example where you can see which transaction is actually executing totally and which transaction is getting rolled back. Okay, now first we'll see read of A. Okay, now we have seen in previous this thing. Okay, we have seen in previous in this slide. Okay, in this slide we have seen that okay, we are seeing in this slide. Okay, we have an example that is R of A. Okay, okay, that is R of A, and just give me a minute. Okay. R of A first is okay, we'll see this example. You have three transactions where that is T1, T2, T3, and how should it execute? First T1 shall execute, then T2, then T3. That is the flow. Okay, and timestamp is 100, 200 for T2, 300 for T3. Okay, now first we are performing read of A. Now where you're performing read of A, okay, read of A, what that is nothing but read operation. So what are the ratios related to that? That is nothing but write, WTS. Okay, write issue will be there because conflict to read is write. So here we are checking WTS of A if it is greater than TS of TI. Okay, so WTS of A by default RTS and WTS value for all the variables is 0. Okay, so WTS of A is 0. Okay, so 0 is greater than 100. Is it greater than 100? And what is 100? 100 is nothing but TS of T1. Okay, TS of T1. Is it greater than 100? No, this condition is not satisfying. So next what we'll do is we'll take that is nothing but RTS of A. We take first we take the maximum of RTS of A and TS of TI. Okay, RTS of A and TS of TI. We take RTS of A and TS of TI max. Now, what is max between 0 and 100? That is RTS of A is 0, whereas TS of TI is 100. And what is max in this? That is 100. Okay. So, what is RTS value now? It becomes 100 here. Okay. Now, next, after this, we'll read the value, we are reading the value R of B. Now again we'll check the condition. Okay, WTS of B is greater than TS of T2. No, that is nothing but is 0 greater than 200. Okay, it is just basically asking is 0 is greater than 200. No. So what we'll do, we'll take RTS of B. Okay, max of RTS of B, comma T2 of TS of T2. Okay, now what is maximum between 0 and 200? It is 200. So this will become 200. Okay, now after that, after read of B, next again it will go to T1, that is write of C. Now whenever we are checking write, we should check both read and write. Okay, whenever we are performing write operation, we should check both RTS and WTS. Now first we'll check with RTS of A. Okay, now here one more thing, we are doing write of C, not of A. Here we have just given for A, so you can you need to check it with A, B and C, 3 different variables. Now since I'm writing write of C, we'll check with RTS of C. Okay, now RTS of C is 0. Okay, and what is the TS of T1? It is 100. 0 is greater than 100? No. So condition is false. Next, we'll check WTS of C. What is WTF for C? 0. So is 0 greater than 100? No. Okay, so the condition doesn't satisfy. So what is the last condition? Set the TS of TI value to WTS of C, because we are writing W of C. So here WTS of C, it will become 100. Okay. Now next we'll come to read of B after that. Now read of B, whenever we say read, what is the conflict, right? So WTS of B here, and what is WTS of B here? It is 0. Okay, so 0 is greater than 300. No, the condition is false. So what we have to do, you have to take maximum of RTS of B, RTS of B and TS of T3, that is nothing but 200 is greater than 300. I mean 200 maximum of this both value. It is not greater, it is comma. Max of this two values. So which will be max? 300. So I should set RTS of B has 300 now instead of 200. Okay. So now updated RTS of B value, updated value is 300. Next, after reading reading B, now we are going to T1 transaction where we are reading C. Okay. So whenever we do C, that is nothing but conflict is right. So we should check WTS of C. Now WTS of C is 100. Is 100 greater than 100? No, both are equal values. So what we should do, basically we should find max of RTS of C. Okay, max of RTS of C, that is 0, 100. So 0, 100, what is the max value? That is 100. So this will become 100. RTS value will become 100. Okay. Next, we'll come to write of B. Now, when we say write of B, you'll get two conflicts, read and write both. Okay. Now first we'll check with RTS of B. RTS of B is 300. Okay. Carefully see here, RTS of B is 300. Okay. Here 300. Now is 300 greater than TS of T2, that is 200 timestamp. Yes. So what happens now? This condition is satisfying. What is the operation we have to do? We have to roll back this transaction. Okay. Roll back this transaction. And why are we doing that? We have seen where the condition violates. We have seen in example, right? What is that? Younger transaction is reading B value, then the older transaction is writing the same value. Okay, this is not correct as per the rules of timestamp ordering. Okay, that's what it is getting rolled back. Now what happens here is this transaction T2, once it gets rolled back, it will come later. It comes later after T3. Okay, after T3 at any times it comes later once it gets rolled back. Now we have done with this. Now here W of A also is there. W of A. So what we'll do here is first write of A. Now whenever we say write, we have to check RTS and WTS. Okay, because for write, read and write both are conflict. So we'll check RTS of A. What is RTS of A value? 100. 100 is greater than TS of TI. Now what is TS of TI? TS of T3 here, 300. 100 is greater than 300? Basically, no. So this is not satisfying. Next, WTS of A. So what is WTS of A value here? It is 0. Okay. So 0 is greater than TS of T3, that is 300 again. Okay. 300. Is it satisfying? No. So what shall I do? 300 should be assigned to WTS of WTS of A. So that is 300. Okay. So this is the solution how you have to solve a timestamp based ordering. Okay. The rules are, whenever you perform a read operation, you should check the updated write. Okay. Write the updated value of write. Okay. If the write value is greater than the current transaction, then roll back. Else find maximum of read timestamp of A and that current transaction. Okay. If it is a write, then you'll be having two conflicts, read and write both. If any of this condition satisfied, let it be read or write, you have to roll it back. Otherwise, set the timestamp of that particular transaction to WS. Okay. So let us go through overall. First, we have seen that you had we have seen today what is timestamp. Timestamp is nothing but it is a value, okay, that is associated with each transaction in a schedule. Okay. Now here we are using timestamp instead of logs. Okay. In log-based protocols we use logs, but in timestamp we are using time. Instead of time, you can use also a logical counter, okay, which keeps on incrementing. After that, we have seen how to denote, okay, how to denote a timestamp for that particular transaction, that's TS of TI. And we have also seen that timestamp of the older transaction is less than timestamp of the younger transaction. And we have seen two values, okay, two timestamp values, that is read of A and write of A. Okay. After that, we have seen how to assign the values for read of A and how to assign the values for write of A. And initial value of read of A and write of A is always 0. Next, we have seen the rules. Okay. If we are performing read operation, if we are performing read operation, then we have to check the condition of this. That is nothing but we have to check the timestamp of write. If it is greater than TS of TI, then roll back. Else read find the maximum of read timestamp and TS of TI and set the value. If it is write, then what is the conflict for write? Both read and write. Okay. If any of these conditions satisfied, then roll back. Else that current transaction which is executing, its timestamp should be set to write timestamp. Okay, and we have seen the example. We have seen the basic condition of timestamp is the older transaction which comes which starts executing should end its execution also first. Then only younger timestamp should do. But let it be any conflict. Okay, where it is read write, write read, write write. Okay. Then after that, we have seen few examples where first younger transaction is writing, then older transaction is reading. Okay. So basically, this is a violation in timestamp ordering. Here also same thing, younger transaction is reading and the same thing older transaction is writing. Then one more example where younger transaction is writing, older transaction also is again rewriting it. And we have seen an example and seen how this T2 is rolled back. Because why T2 is rolled back? Because the younger transaction T3 is reading the value B, and that value is written by the older transaction after it is read by younger transaction. So that is not allowed. So this T2 rolls back. Okay. So that's all in timestamp based protocol. In next class, we'll see other protocols.